Hey, I'm Amy Chang. I'm a nationally board certified health and wellness coach, and this is Healthy AF. In this podcast, I'll be bringing you all things health, from the newest health strategies to how to tackle those personal roadblocks that just will not let you move forward. So buckle in. We're going to be inspired and instructed, and dadgum, we're going to have a little fun on Healthy AF. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Healthy AF. I wanted to do something really, I think, fun on this episode. This is going to be another either 2 or 3-parter. I don't know. We'll see how it flows and just get crazy with it. I had such a cool experience this week. You might know, if you're on the web pages and the social media, you might know that we've got our 4th event coming up this next couple of weeks here this month down here in Wilmington. We've gone across the state and talked about really living a full life. And so we once again are back at it. We've got an event coming up, and this time we've got 3 coaches talking. I'm one of them. And this is the first time that I have gotten to sit down with a fellow coach and create what it is we want to share. In the events of the past, it was like, I'll do me, you'll do you, we'll throw it at them, and it'll be great. And this time's just a little bit different, and it's so exciting. I really had a blast with my friend Scott. The title of our event is Own Your Life, Taking Charge and Creating a Life Well Lived. So keep that in the back of your mind, because that's going to come up here in a minute. So my friend Scott Francis, and I'll put his links in the bottom. He's great. I feel like he's sort of my counterpart. We're both CrossFitters. He is a stay-at-home caregiver for his children. I was a stay-at-home caregiver for my children, growing up. And he went through Unbeatable Mind training. I, of course, went through Landmark and Duke Health to do my coach training. And so when I approached him about doing this event with me, I already knew that I liked the way he approached coaching in a CrossFit gym. You can tell a lot about the way people train and coach in any, I think, athletic space, but CrossFit gym's just my realm. So anyway, I already knew that I really liked kind of like what I was picking up what Scott was laying down, right? So we decide we're going to do this event together, and we meet at the coffee shop this week to look at, like, what were we going to say? Because we're kind of like vague. We picked this title out and we're like, yeah, that sounds good. I don't know what'll work out. It'll shake. And so he shows up, he pulls up and parks like right beside me. And we pop out of the cars, and he says, I listen to your stuff, and I so get, like, what you do is what I do. And I'm like, all right, now we're cooking. Right. So we walk inside and sit down, and he gets to share with me. He's so generous with the way he shares with me the way he coaches people. And the whole time, my brain is not only connecting to the framework that he uses, to the framework that I use, to the framework that is going to be presented in a couple of weeks. And like all these little, it was like a ping pong machine back in there. Pinball is like a pinball machine with all the lights and the music and, the bonus points and stuff. It was a really cool conversation. And we start talking about the frameworks of coaching people through behavior change. Basically, that's what we do, right? We coach people in mindset, and typically mindset leads to behavior change, because if you change your mindset, that's great. But if nothing else in your life changes, then maybe that's not so awesome. And then I said to him, you know what, though, Scott, there's a step that happens for people before they enter into coaching, before they get that awareness that something in their life could be different, and they want it to be different. And so we started talking about that. And I wanted to share some of that conversation with y'all today. I think it's a valuable conversation. And we're going to talk a lot about CrossFit because, that's my world and Scott's world, and it's easy. Before I was ready to make changes in my life, I knew something didn't feel good, but I wasn't sure what it was. I knew that I felt overworked, underappreciated, unseen. I felt busy. I felt like I was surrounded by people who loved me and were good people, but didn't engage with them, I guess. That's the way I describe that. If I saw you in the pickup line, it was great, and I loved you with my whole heart. But as soon as we left the pickup line, man, I was doing 11 other things. I was hitting the Walmart and trying to figure out, if it was going to be fish sticks and ramen again, or if I was actually going to cook something and who was going to eat it. And that busyness. And I wasn't quite aware of what was missing or what I could have done. I was rolling through the wash, rinse, repeat. The every day is somewhat the same. There's parts of joy. There's a lot of busy. And it didn't feel particularly good. It didn't feel fulfilling. It just, when you strap in on the roller coaster of life, not many of us will go like, oh, wait, I need to get off now. Because when we need to get off that ride midway down a hill, it doesn't seem like there's any way for us to just unbuckle and jump off that roller coaster. So Scott and I were talking about there were clues and cues to me throughout that period that I was just sort of like going along that I didn't pick up. Like I could have probably saved myself 10 years of ho-hum had I clued in that there was something that I could actually do to bring myself some fulfillment. And the way we like to think about it is in cueing. When you coach an athlete, you use cueing. And there's different ways of cueing people. You might walk over and look at somebody's deadlift and take a piece of PVC pipe and tap their shoulder and say, hey, these shoulders need to come forward. And that would be a tactile cue, right? Or you might stand, 10 feet from them and say like, hey, pull your knees back. That's a verbal cue, right? You might go in front of them and say, put your body in this position. That's a good visual cue. So there's all kinds of cueing, right? And in my CrossFit coaching career, I have done that thing where athlete A comes in and every time we squat, I give her the same exact cue. And every time we squat, she does the same exact error. And she just is not picking up what I'm laying down. And that just happens, right? I went through a similar experience with my deadlift. For years, I'd set up in my deadlift, and coaches around me, 2, 3, 4 different coaches around me would say, pull your knees back, pull your knees back. Well, I look at the bar and think like, I don't even know what are they talking about? I had no idea how to make my knees go back anymore. And then one coach one day said, Amy, pick your butt up. And when I picked my butt up, sure enough, my knees went back. It was the right cue at the right time. And before that, in my deadlift, I knew something wasn't quite working right. I mean, it was okay. I was still strong as a buck, but it wasn't efficient and it didn't feel like it was, sliding along. It didn't feel like a heavy, effortless, proper deadlift. It felt like I was fighting it. And so I say all this to say, if you're in a spot in your life where things aren't feeling quite right, your life either feels draining, you feel disconnected, you feel like you're spinning your wheels, on the hamster wheel, can't get ahead, that kind of thing. There is something you can do. And usually you get the right cue from the right person at the right time, even if you've heard that same cue over and over and over again. You can give yourself some grace around all the times you missed all the cues. And then you get the cue when you get the cue, right? You're ready when you're ready. So how do we get ready? And that's what we're going to talk about, what we do when we get ready in podcast number 2. But the way we create awareness in our life is twofold. Typically, this is what I see with my people, and this is certainly what I've lived through. We have a moment. Sometimes I call it a forced stop that feels like a tragedy. It feels like a tragedy. It's a loss of a job. It's a loss of a friend. It's the death of a loved one. It's a really scary event where we think we're going to lose someone. It's when your kid gets really sick. It's when your house gets foreclosed on or, God forbid, washed away by a hurricane. It's those big ones. Those are the forced stopped, the medical emergencies, forced stops that have us stop and question, wait, I know I'm on the roller coaster headed down at 150 miles an hour, but I think I want to get off. Those are the times that have us question that. But it doesn't always have to be that way. We do not have to wait for the forced stops. There's also a way to become aware. Sometimes it happens when we're sitting on our porch meditating. Sometimes it happens in a church or kind of anywhere you feel sort of the spirit move within you, whatever spirit it is, whatever higher power you look to. Sometimes it's by just stopping and sitting down and taking an honest look at your life. What's working? What's not working? An honest look. Always good to do that with another person so they can put your feet in the fire. Very difficult to be honest with yourself when you're pretty sure that you cannot get off that roller coaster. It's funny, I use this question a lot of times when people say like, well, yeah, I don't have time to meditate. I don't have time to, I can't do this. I can't do that. I'm like, okay, if I said, if you do this, I'll give you $2 million right now, would you figure out a way to do it? And it's almost always yes. So let's just put your little tootsies in the fire on that, So you don't have to have a forced stop. You can have some awareness. You can have some waking up. And that's the first thing that we are going to establish at our event in a couple of weeks. I think it's really relatable. I'm living, but I don't really know where I'm going. I'm not living my life is living me kind of thing. So listen into part 2, because we're going to talk about what happens when we become aware, whether it's through a forced stop or a planned evaluation, spiritual retreat, marriage counseling, marriage retreat, any of those good, nourishing moments for yourself, and what happens next. If you are beginning to tiptoe into some awareness, please do give yourself a heaping helping full of grace, because the behavior change that comes after the awareness is going to need you to not be wrapped in shame and poopy stink stories. It's going to really require that you are wrapped in self-love. So, like and subscribe and share this episode if you love it. If you don't, it's okay. You can go find another episode to watch. And I'll see you next time on Healthy AF. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Healthy AF podcast. I hope that it has helped you create a new possibility for your health and sets you into action to go get it. If you want more information, or if you want to connect with me, visit my website at myhealthylife.coach. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that each new Healthy AF episode will be sent directly to you. Let's take you from where you are to where you want to go.